This governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that in fulfilling their public trust, every deliberation will result in actions that will promote the common good and general welfare for all the people of Morris Plains. Amen. Notice to members of the governing body and borough staff, any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be solely used for the purpose of borough business. And excused tonight is Councilman Broom, who's out of state, and Mr. Cortese, who's feeling under the weather. Nancy, you want to give me the approval of minutes, please?
Sure. I move that the minutes of conference, executive, and regular session of August 21st, 2025 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. Approval of consent calendar, again, Ms. Berg.
I move that the following reports be approved: Police Department, July 2025, and Grant Writer, August 2025, and Resolution 2025-109, entitled the Eric C. Blom Foundation Raffle License Number 350-25, Resolution 2025-110, entitled Resolution for Renewal of Membership in the Morris County Joint Insurance Fund, Resolution 2025-111, entitled Resolution Renaming Court Road Park to Centennial Park Block 191, Lot 5, Resolution 2025-112, entitled Resolution Authorizing a Public Question, be placed on this year's general election ballot regarding the expenditure of public monies for an improvement to the Municipal Building, Police Department building, and/or construction of a new police department building. Resolution 2025-114, entitled Resolution Accepting the Proposal from John Morgan Thomas Landscape Architects, P.C., for architectural services for Idlewild Pool. The Borough Council approves the Mayor's proclamation declaring the month of September Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in the Borough of Morris Plains. Award of Contract 2025.01, improvements to Stiles Avenue to Stanziali Construction LLC for their low bid of $373,518.50, subject to the Borough Attorney's review of the bid documents and concurrence from the NJDOT. The resignation of Jacob Cahill, Teen Center Supervisor, be accepted effective September 10th, 2025. The resignation of Courtney Welsh, Substitute Crossing Guard, be accepted effective August 27th, 2025. The Borough Council approved the excused absence of Kevin Longo, Chief Delegate for the Morris Plains Volunteer Fire Department, to attend the New Jersey State Firemen's Association Annual Convention in Wildwood on September 11th and 12th, 2025, as per the Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual. The Borough Council approved the excused absence of Chris Shea, Fire Prevention Official, Relief Association Delegate for the Morris Plains Volunteer Fire Department, to attend the New Jersey State Firemen's Association Annual Convention in Wildwood on September 11th and 12th, 2025, as per the Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual. Christian Kuzimsak be hired as Deputy Clerk, pending background check approval at an annual salary of $50,000, effective September 15th, 2025, prorated. The Borough Treasurer be authorized to advertise for the receipt of bids for the installation of light poles and wiring on the path from the Morris Plains train station to the venue at American Road within the Borough of Morris Plains, contract 2025.E, in the Morris Newsbee 2025 edition of the official Borough newspaper on September 11th, 2025, with bids to be received on October 1st, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. Council Chambers, Borough Hall. The residents of the American be granted permission to hold a Cars and Coffee event on Sunday, September 28th, 2025 from 10 a.m. to noon. The DPW will provide the necessary barricades and cones for a portion of American Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bill. Roll call, please.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Verga?
Yes.
Now I'd like to invite members of the public wishing to speak, come up and state your name and address. Who you're talking about.
Good evening, everyone. Jessica Williams. Hi. 22 Stony Brook Road. Just want to say, welcome back to school. Everyone had a great summer. It's been a while since I've been here, but I have a bunch of questions. So let's start with the ordinance 6-2025, which is an amendment to section 22-5A, limiting the use of streets to certain vehicles. Section 2 of the amendment states that the Borough of Morris Plains will erect and install signs bearing the message, trucks over 4 tons excluded. Is there a time frame for when we can expect to see the signs?
So that ordinance was introduced and passed, the street signs were ordered before we got any DOT approval, and that's what we're waiting on.
Okay, so, and that includes all the streets on that?
I don't remember what the streets were, this was Hillview, I think, I don't remember.
There were
what-
2 streets, it's Hillview and Rosedale, that were added to the streets that already exist. So,
Any streets that lead to a road that's not ours, like the road right here, we needed permission to have those signs put up, so we're essentially waiting for them to give us permission to put those signs up.
So I'm actually specifically asking about Dayton Road, will there be a sign put there as well?
so Dayton, I believe Dayton already existed in the ordinance, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so, I don't know if the sign was ordered for that or not, but that was already existed, it wasn't amended in the updated ordinance, so I'm not sure, Mr. Mayor, if we can do a,
Where the
Sign.
I'm not
the
even
signs
sure if
were
that's a
ordered?
4-ton road, I'd have to look at the ordinance.
It's
It
right
is.
here.
yeah,
It
it's
is a
in the
4-ton road.
ordinance as a 4-ton restriction.
We'd have to see whether it need DOT approval.
Okay. Okay.
If it's on there, I would assume so, but you know what they say when you assume.
Right. So, I mean, I guess my next question is, if these 2 were added, why were the other streets that were on here not also included in that?
In signs?
Right.
Yeah, I believe the ordinance says that a sign is supposed to go for any of those streets that are restricted, right? I believe that's what the
It
ordinance
does,
says.
correct.
right? So, again, as the mayor said, right, if the sign isn't already there, we'd have to check with DOT to see what they're,
Maybe, I don't know that for a fact.
Okay.
We'd have to check.
sure.
Do we know how many signs were ordered? Was it just the 2, or was it the additional 8 on the?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, it was $600 or $800 for the signs for the street.
Okay.
I'm assuming, again, that it was just those 2 streets due to the new ordinance that the ordinance committee put together.
Okay.
We can get an answer though for you.
Well, thank you, of course. Earlier this year, there was some also discussions about revisiting ordinance 14-2023, we all know what that is, specifically regarding potential amendments to the list of permitted uses, which specifically I'm asking about drive-through restaurants in the B2 business zone. Has there been any update on this? Has there been any movement on this?
There has not, been any update on it, I mean, other than that I've looked at it, but I haven't moved any of it forward yet, so.
Okay.
But I did make that statement, I did make that promise, so I do need to do that.
Thank you, I appreciate you taking accountability.
Sure.
So is there any update on the remaining building at the proposed McDonald site? You know, I know that the fire department used it for some training purposes, but the building now has broken windows, scattered glass, and is exposed to the elements. I believe that there was a rumor that there were kids flying over there, throwing rocks or something into the building. It's become both an eyesore and a safety concern, and particularly worried about the potential for animals and, as I mentioned, children. Is there any information or timeline you could share on?
The last I heard, they're waiting for a letter from the cable company to be disconnected, or that it was disconnected.
Okay.
That was the last I've heard of that. I don't know the rest of their timeline.
Do we know, and that includes the building in the back?
That's the little condo building.
Right, okay,
You'd have to check with the building department
okay.
to see what, if there's an updated status.
And Jess, I can look into that, because that's under my purview, so I can check with the building department and see what the status is.
Is there a timeline that they're required to meet for demo or anything like that?
And my last question, is about the engagement of town experts. By my observation, certain members failed to provide the town with sound and strategic guidance relevant to ordinance 14-23, and the McDonald's applications hearing, which resulted in the debacle that's been playing out for the last year. Specifically, with better strategic guidance, the ordinance could have been written in such a way that would have kept McDonald's from being allowed in the first place. In addition, due to a lack of understanding of basic attorney-client privilege, residents were inappropriately silenced during the planning board hearings. These oversights created legal exposure for the town, and I believe, as do many sitting in the audience tonight, that the above examples are sufficient reasons to explore engaging different experts for 2026. What is the current process, if there is one, for selecting experts, and is the public allowed a say in the candidates?
That'd be planning board, if that's what you're referring to.
Right.
Right,
Answer this
no,
question, or-
any experts or any professionals that are retained by the planning board are retained solely by the planning board. That's solely within the jurisdiction of the planning board themselves. Usually at their annual reorganization meeting, they appoint their professionals. If you want to be heard on that, you should go to a planning board meeting, be heard at the public session. And I'm sure they'll take your comments and give due regard to it. But in terms of your second question, the public does not have any direct input on. In other words, there's no like blocking mechanism or something that you could do to stop that. That's it. If the planning board hires their own individuals, the most the residents could do is seek to be heard on that and give your opinion on that. But you don't have a say, direct say in that, nor could you want to do with the planning board.
But the town council does approve what the planning board sets up,
No, the
correct?
planning board has sole jurisdiction.
Okay,
So that's two different.
okay. I think those are my only questions.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jess.
Anybody else?
Good evening. My name's Frank Druetzler, and I'm here. I have a couple questions on and a statement on the advertisement for, work on the municipal building. Is there going to be a different location? Is there a proposed different location for the police department, and where is that?
Chief, you want me to answer, you wanna answer?
You may.
So, the location is next to the teen center, in between the 9/11 and the teen center, or a renovation here at this building?
Or renovation here? What is the cost of the
It
new building?
ranges from 7-point-something million here to nearly 13 million at,
13 million there?
over there.
Okay, that seems to be the rumor going around anyway. But here's my statement. Let me give you a little history of the property. The properties there were bought for open space. Because naturally you had a playing field, we made a teen center with one of the houses, the other houses were demolished. We at the time, we didn't put it on the Rossi, which is the Recreation Open Space Inventory. However, once you accept Green Acres money, purchased land goes on the Rossi. Marsh Plains has used Green Acres money, thus open space is protected. At the beginning of this year, the open space and recreation element of the master plan was adopted. It included all the properties on Route 53 owned by Marsh Plains, that they were open space. You also adopted a housing element and fair share plan. The Route 53 property is not listed as vacant or buildable. Fair share housing, as you all know, is contesting your current plan, and you have made great progress with that plan, and you have gotten acceptance of the first stage. However, it is not the time to fumble the ball. I ask that you respectfully, the council, rescind that resolution and speak to your housing attorney for advice on this before a small error becomes a large error. Thank you very much.
Thank
Sorry,
Oh, I so.
size 15 shoes, that's what it'll do for you. Bill Grecco, 9 Higby Way. Mr. Mayor, council members, chief, I just have one question, and it may have already been addressed at some point, but the Hanover Avenue to Speedwell, has it ever been thought to put a right turn only lane from Hanover to Speedwell? Has that ever been discussed?
Yeah, it's been discussed numerous times by the borough and county people. Years ago, there was a proposal by the county to do that, and never followed through with it. There is an application that's gonna be coming to the planning board for that corner piece of property, and that's gonna be one of the things that's gonna be discussed, is dedicating a portion of that property for the right-hand turn lane there. So we try all the time to get that, whether it pans out, the county does that, we'll see in the future whether that'll ever happen.
Is there anything that the residents of Morris Plains can do to,
I mean, you could certainly write write the commissioners and advocate for it, for sure. But, you know, we don't have the property yet. So
Right.
maybe that's
well, are there easements?
There are some easements there currently, yes, but we still need a larger portion of the property there. So.
Understood, and the lots themselves are basically just parking lots for
Those lots
Acme
are-
and the laundromat.
Yeah.
So we're really not disturbing.
Some people say you're not, other people say you are. So
Okay.
we'll see where it all goes, you know, so.
Just an interest, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. How come every time you come here, we're spending money? I don't get it.
Well, because this is why we pay taxes.
We're putting nice lights over there, everything for it.
Thank you, Mayor, we appreciate that.
It's good. Well worth it, though. Anyway.
Thank you,
A lot
sir.
of people use that.
Hi, I'm Bill LaChance, maybe I just had 2 questions. My understanding on the affordable housing effort is that August 31 was a deadline for anyone to challenge our plan. Was there any challenges come through, or did we sail through that?
So, we did get a memo from our affordable housing attorney that is attorney-client privilege, so I really can't talk to him about that right now. So, there'll be some information coming out. I'll say shortly, but shortly. Yeah.
Okay. Second question, on the police department referendum, how exactly is that gonna be worded? Is that gonna be like, you can pick either this option or that option, or you guys are gonna pick an option and we vote yes or
I
no?
don't have it in front of me. Do you for the wording?
I
It
don't
gives a
have-
range of money, really.
Right,
is what it is.
I don't have it in front of me, but it doesn't have various options. What it does have is a global, the question is, essentially, do you hereby authorize Borough Council to spend between 7, I don't wanna say number, don't hold me to
Yeah,
those
whatever
numbers,
numbers,
that's
I
what
got it,
get.
got it.
But for purposes of, to follow on Mayor Druetzler, somewhere between $7 and $13 million, to either renovate or construct a new building. And based upon the response to that, the council's going to use that in guidance to then figure it. In other words, if it's an overwhelming yes,
Right.
then maybe the council will be guided accordingly. If it's 51-49, that may have a factor. But to answer your question, we're just gauging the temperature to spend somewhere between $7 million and $13 million.
I just curious. That's all, thanks.
Thanks, Bill.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
Lisa Schroeder, 97 Maple Avenue. I promise not to get unruly or require the time limit. I wanted to take an opportunity to provide a short update from Plan Better Morris Plains. Plan Better Morris Plains recently sent out its first newsletter, which was also sent to each of you and the mayor. In that newsletter, we highlighted that the New Jersey Department of Transportation has expressed concerns about the McDonald's project on Speedwell in its initial review. Specifically, the DOT expressed major concerns about traffic impact, the safety of children at nearby schools, and the increased risk of rear-end and T-bone collisions at an already busy intersection. These comments were relayed to the McDonald's traffic engineer in a letter dated July 14th that can be obtained by submitting an OPRA request. These comments are notable and validating because these are the same concerns that were expressed by many residents at the planning board hearings in November and December. We're grateful that the DOT is exploring the safety and traffic impact of the proposed McDonald's, and these are matters that really should have been explored more fully before the planning board. We therefore urge the borough to conduct its own independent traffic study and not solely rely on the report of the McDonald's hired traffic expert to develop a deeper understanding of the potential impact a double drive-through fast food chain will have on our downtown. Likewise, we also urge the borough to conduct a detailed traffic assessment for each permitted use under Ordinance 14-2023. To the public's knowledge, no such deep assessment was undertaken by the planning board planner when the ordinance was being drafted by the planning board. The issues around McDonald's, along with other controversial planning decisions, are the reason that Plan Better Morris Plains exists and is asking for public education and participation in land use decisions, as well as a timely review of Ordinance 14-2023 and of the Morris Plains Master Plan. But to be clear, while McDonald's may have been a catalyst for Plan Better Morris Plains, our group's aims transcend the McDonald's matter. The McDonald's application simply helped to shine a light on the various planning deficiencies that exist in our town. So with that, we look forward to continued collaboration with each of you, our elected officials, on these matters. Thank you.
When did you send that email?
It went out maybe a week or so ago.
I never, did anybody
Yes.
else see it?
I got it, yes.
From the town email?
Yep.
Borough email, yes.
I never received it.
We can be
so-
sure that it gets
Yeah, please.
forwarded along. I don't know, maybe it got stuck in spam.
I don't know.
Our spam is
Make a
very
note, so,
aggressive.
yeah, just send
Yeah,
another
yeah,
one
thanks
and
for
then-
letting me know.
I never saw it, but,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you, Lisa.
Hi, Carolyn Bennett. Is that our address?
Yep.
Sure, 19 Dayton. I have a question, well, I have two things. One, a comment, I think, for something you brought up, Nancy, at one of the meetings around the social media page, not getting enough traction. So just a suggestion, I think if whoever runs it re-shares a post as the story, that automatically appears first in followers' thing. So anyway, my reminder to tell you that or send an email and let you know, because it's a quick thing that they can do to just make sure people are seeing those posts without paying anything.
Is there a way to block comments on that? Because we currently don't allow comments.
I think you can, yeah, I think you can make it so nobody can comment or share, but they might be able to like your story.
Yeah.
I know that if you post your Facebook story, it appears like first for people, and there's no rhyme or reason, I don't think, of why, but anyway, so.
what happened? What happened?
We talked, there was feedback that I received about the fact that our social media pages are not fire, like, people don't see them.
The borough.
The boroughs, like, there's not enough posts, people don't see them, they get buried, and what are we doing to enhance, should we post more often? So Carolyn's making a suggestion, by making a story instead of a post, it would show up on people's feeds. There's like algorithms and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I got, you get, the rec one was, right, the block party, the rec, they've been doing a lot lately, right, so.
Yeah, they have their own Facebook
Yeah, yeah,
page, so ours particularly doesn't have a lot of heavy traction.
Got it.
So more, I can send all that in
I'll
an email,
touch
but
on
while I
any
was.
ideas like that,
Yeah.
all ears.
And then I had questions which maybe are more appropriate directed to you, but I saw recently I think it was like a crosswalk track, I don't know the right words for these things that the police,
Pedestrian safety detail, yes.
yeah, much more elegant, That's what I'm saying. I guess, are you able to just share like quick what that is, what the objectives are, you're gonna get?
It's in my report, I can
Okay.
certainly give it to you now if you like.
That's okay, no, we can wait until the proper form. I guess I sat there in the Dunkin' parking lot with my son and we watched it because it was
How'd
something
we do?
exciting. Well, I only saw the, officer going across, not to Hillview, the other one in front of Provident Bank.
Sure.
And there were cars that were not stopping at the crosswalk, but the officers that I think were set up to pull over said vehicles were occupied with other vehicles. So I would just be curious to know how many people actually went through the crosswalk and didn't get pulled over, because I think those types of numbers would be helpful for the town to like keep tabs of.
Sure.
So I don't know if that's in your report, but that was one question I had. And then if they also did the same thing on the other crosswalk, because I know they're only a few feet apart, but that crosswalk is top of mind for people, so I was just curious. Okay, that was it.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving forward, seeing no one else, we move on to finance, Ms. Verga. When do we discuss this other topic that we brought up?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. In finance, the clerk's office has did a lot of work on the 60th annual block dance, which sounds like here, I'll say it was a huge success. The music, amusements, petting zoo, and refreshments were a big hit. And I know that our borough staff, from the clerk's office to DPW to police, all worked really hard on that, and the volunteers, including the Rotary Club and others, and more than 24 businesses and individuals who donated prizes helped make the block party a fun evening for everyone. The clerk's office also remains busy with their regular processing marriage applications. It's a busy wedding season, licenses for that, death certificates, food vendor licenses, and completing OPRA requests. They're now preparing for the 9/11 memorial service coming up. And final interviews were held for the deputy clerk position, which is on our consent agenda today. We did hire. Our CFO tax collector, Anna, has been training a new employee, the assistant to the tax collector. We're happy to have Frankie on board. Anna also completed and mailed the delinquent tax notices for the third quarter. We had only 98 delinquent taxpayers so far in the quarter, out of more than 2,400 households, so pretty good. North Plains pays on time. The library has updated hours now that summer hours are over, starting Monday the 8th. They will be open again on Mondays from 12 to 5. And on Friday, instead of closing at 3 as they did in the summer, they'll be open until 5. And on Saturdays, they're open 10 to 2. They're also going to have a Wednesday story time for the littles starting on September 17th at 10:30 a.m. with Jane Geiger, who's a resident here. She's a former principal. She's going to be doing stories, crafts, and snacks. And they're trying mahjong lessons at the library. So they sold that out, but stay tuned for another session because it's been popular. And they're looking into offering a crochet class from another resident with a skill willing to share for free for 4th to 6th graders. So that's being discussed. Hopefully that'll be out there soon for everyone. And when you stop by the library, remember that they do collect donations for the Interfaith Food Pantry and a toys and books for children in rural Jamaica. They also asked, and I mentioned again, the Centennial Committee, that they would be happy to host an event on the library grounds or in the library, or a display in their glass case that they have inside for the Centennial, if that's of interest. The Green Team will be meeting on Monday, September 15th. We'll be discussing an update to our application for a local government energy audit. We submitted all of our bills that were required to the BPU, and we'll be discussing next steps for that. They'll also be discussing whether they can research recommendations from the 2018 Master Plan Reexamination Report. That recommendation was to research preparing a green building and environmental sustainability element of the master plan. So not that they would be the expert on this, but just to do some legwork in case it was needed. They could share some information that they have researched. So that we're going to be discussing that. And tonight we have a resolution for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, which touched my family, but I also want to recognize that September is Suicide Awareness Month. And I highly recommend that people take something called mental health first aid training, if you see it available. It's training for anyone, similar to a first aid class. It's for anyone who wants to be able to help someone in a mental health crisis. It's excellent training, and it's a good way to handle and possibly save a life. So, thank you.
Public safety, Tyler.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be a little briefer tonight. As we all know, school is back in session, so our crossing guards are out working hard, keeping our kids safe, and in reality, all pedestrians. With that being said, I know Sergeant Hockman was out on the motorcycle today, pulling lots of people over, so if you speed in Morris Plains around our kids, you're getting a ticket. The Chief Police Department, there we go, is actively interviewing for the open position. To my knowledge, there's 6 candidates that they are interviewing. So at that point, Chief and the leadership will make a determination, is someone worth pursuing, or do we sort of expand the search, so to say. Chief K also probably have a bigger report than me, but it's gonna be start to look into some of those public sessions and open houses, getting ready to discuss what we've been talking about, the possible renovation here versus the new department there. He'll also talk about what Caroline said, the pedestrian kind of crosswalk thing they had going on. It sounded really neat, and I'm kind of sad I missed it. I was hoping to be there. On the Complete and Green Streets front, I met with Jim Hunt today. Him and I are going to be the co-chair of that committee. Made a plan really for the next 6 months, and going to send an email out this weekend to everyone on the committee, and hoping to have our first meeting in 2 weeks. The fire department still having a record number of calls, well over 300 calls for the year. They were doing a couple drills and working with some of the apparatuses out there this week. They're constantly purchasing odds and ends, making sure everything is up to date, and it's just kind of fun watching them get to do all those things. I promised my daughters I'd take them to the firehouse soon to see all the fun stuff going on there. So Chief Rongo said we can come by. And Chief Rongo and Fire Prevention Chief Chris Shea will be at the Firemen's Convention September 11th and 12th this month. Wish them luck there. Spoke real quick today with Fire Prevention Chief Chris Shea. As always, really busy. As I've mentioned before, he goes to a lot of the calls that the fire department gets as well, so he's just all over the place all the time. And Jason and I, representing the Business Development Committee, met with Downtown Morris Plains last week, talked about collaborating on events, sort of future events coming up, what each other's roles can be, and really what we can do to support each other moving forward. And as mentioned, it's about it for me. I'll let Chief give a report as well.
Thank you. As Tyler mentioned, it's back to school today, so we're asking for the public's help in keeping our students safe, and especially slowing down in our school zones, observing the traffic control devices, paying attention to our school crossing guards and their direction, and obviously watching the buses, flashing lights, and the arm that comes out to protect the kids. We did have a good amount of effort today in stopping vehicles for violations to our school zones, so we're going to be doing that throughout the first few weeks of school until everybody gets used to the kids being back out across the heavily traveled pedestrian school population, so please be on alert for that. On Tuesday, we did our pedestrian crossing enforcement detail. The safety detail issued 35 summonses, 28 of those were for failing to stop the pedestrians in the crosswalk. So the way the detail works is 2 officers, one acts as a mock pedestrian, and he's not cheating in any way. He's wearing a high-vis yellow shirt, so you should be able to see him, and the other officer will monitor. They lay out a specific segment of roadway and measure that out, so cars within X amount of feet should be able to clearly see the pedestrian in the roadway. There's a lot of other distractions inside the motor vehicle. The other officer that's with the decoy acts as a spotter, and then we had 4 other officers stopping cars. So in total, between Grandis Avenue and Mountain Way, where we did 21 vehicles, did not stop for the decoy. We did Malapartis near Community Park, heavily traveled now from the housing units over there over to our park. 27 vehicles did not stop for pedestrian crosswalk. And on Speedwell at Rosedale, it was 42 vehicles that did not stop. So 90 total that did not stop for pedestrian. We're happy to report, though, just as many vehicles did stop for the pedestrian and crosswalk. So, and as you mentioned, Ms. Bennett, there were several vehicles that we could not get to, but overall, a good effort, especially right before school, to increase awareness about the visibility of the crosswalk. We did email DOT 2 or 3 weeks ago. We still have not received a response on where we stand with the rapid flashing beacons that are supposed to go at the intersection there. Just wanted to touch on Glenbrook Road and the other resurfacing projects. Thank you everybody for your cooperation. It was quite a bit of effort to get all those roads done in a timely fashion before school, and that was our request, that all the roads get improved before school began. You will notice on Glenbrook Road, and again with all our roadways, especially Glenbrook Road, though, a major thoroughfare through town, that fresh pavement does tend to increase speeds without all the potholes and the interruptions from when they laid the new water line. We did increase some roadway designs over there. You'll notice the double yellow line, which is required by the New Jersey Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. We also added white shoulder lines, or fog lines are sometimes referred to make the roadway appear more narrow. That tends to decrease the speeds of the roadway. So with the double yellow line, yes, you can turn left over the double yellow line into your driveway. You don't have to go around the block to come back to your driveway on the right-hand side. And the fog lines, shoulder lines, yes, you can park up against the curbway. It's just an image to try and decrease the speeds. Glenbrook Road, when we have done our traffic surveys, is one of our most sped upon roadways, so we're trying to do some things over there to calm the traffic down, especially being right in major school zones. So, and in regards to the resolution that's on this evening supporting the public question that will go to the vote in November. As all you know, this is a growing borough, and in turn, the PD has grown as well. When I first took over as chief of police 5.5 years ago, we were 17 police officers. We're now 19 police officers in addition to Special Police Officer Rolf that complements our staff. So the building is starting to burst at the seams a little bit, as we say, with all the equipment and technology and storage that we need to have here. So a request was made for building improvements and was submitted to the Borough Council in a comprehensive strategic plan that I submitted to the council in February of 2022. Noting necessary upgrades to our processing room, our holding area. As you may know, there's some public engagement issues and privacy concerns when you come into the main municipal building and maybe you're here to report being the victim of an offense or you're a witness to an offense with the general public crossing through the same path. And then as well as internal, external spatial constraints that we experience with vehicles and equipment and staff and locker rooms, things of that way. So as I'm extremely aware of everybody's concern and interest with construction and improvement in the borough, we will be hosting 2 town hall style meetings. I have yet to schedule those, but one will be late September and one in October, as well as some social media campaigns to express why we're desirous of improvements both in the municipal building and the police department, as well as open houses. You can come tour the PD. There's that Wizard of Oz effect. You don't know what's behind the curtain. So for the next 3 council meetings, which are September 18th, October 2nd, and October 16th, I will be in the building from 5:30 until the conference session starts at 7:30, willing to give any member of the public a tour of the facility. And then as well, we're going to do one on Saturday, September 20th from 1:30 to 3:30. I'll be here in the afternoon to again invite the public in to see some of the officer safety concerns that I share and again those spatial constraints. So without any further questions, comments, or concerns, I'm willing to take any questions that anybody might have.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
How did, wait, am I allowed to? Yeah.
You really should come up and state your name and address again, please.
Carolyn Bennett, 19 Dayton Rd. How do you choose the crosswalks for the pedestrian?
So we varied. This is the 3rd time we've done that through a AAA grant. So we bring officers in on overtime to staff that many officers. We know we're going to get that volume of vehicles not adhering to the pedestrian law. So we bring officers in on overtime. So we've done Speedwell at Hillview. We've done Speedwell at Rosedale. It's just a matter of us varying the locations that we do. So we are going to continue to do them, and we will certainly hit, Rosedale at Hillview, Rosedale and Speedwell as well.
So that it's more than once a year and the time of day can change?
Yeah, we've done it in the morning hours, we've done it in the evening hours, we varied our times just to try to catch, especially the busier, traffic times that vehicles are out of the roadway, so.
Interesting. Okay, no, that's all good to know, and if you ever want a stroller for the decoy, happy to lend you one. And my comment before, when I was saying that cars were missed, obviously there's an issue because of how many people you just quoted.
Right.
I also thank you guys though for doing that, because hopefully it's a wake-up call for these people, because it's obviously a problem.
I made the point to my staff that the dismounted patrols and dismounted motor vehicle enforcement effort, because if we stop at, do detail with a single officer in a car, they may stop 1 or 2 cars in a 30-minute time span between, 10, 15 minutes for traffic stop. If we get a few officers out doing dismounted detail for, this period of time, we can stop a great number of vehicles, and also it makes a greater impact when people see us out there doing it. So,
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Public Works, Art's not here, unless somebody has a report for him. Seeing nobody, we'll move on to, Public Buildings. Sal has left us ill, so I don't think anybody has a report for him. Public Health, Sanitation, and Sewers, Mr. Ivey.
Thank you, Mayor. Board of Health and Municipal Alliance didn't have meetings the last few weeks. The Board of Health will have a meeting next week, so I'll be able to report on that at the next meeting. Teen Center, we wanted to recognize and thank Jay Cahill for his years on Teen Center. He just resigned as Teen Center supervisor. He's had a strong hand in developing the Teen Center and turning it into the program that it is, so we thank him for all of his years of service there. The Clean Communities Grant. So right now there's about $20,000 that are available for us to use, and as anybody has seen, that we do a lot of the community cleanups, whether it's in Simon's Park or at Robert's Garden in the woods. There's just not enough people and luckily not enough litter to burn down that amount of grant. And also, I also wanted to recognize that this is going to tie into later. This is very disjointed. I apologize. Jordan Jacobs, Grace and Lane and Bookma, those are some young people in town who cleaned up trash in the wooded area along that way before school started. So we appreciate their initiative. And after having them identify that it's been a problem, we're going to utilize the Clean Communities Grant to really focus on that area to provide a permanent solution. And also, in addition to that, I'm going to be developing a spend plan to better utilize the funds throughout the borough. We'll be discussing my plan with the committee this coming week and have a proposed plan to discuss with the council during conference session at the next meeting.
Super, thank you. Ordinances and Public Utilities.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to say to the chief, as a resident of Glenbrook Road, I appreciate everything you guys are doing there. I think the line striping and everything is great. I think we've definitely seen an impact, right, in the reduction of speed of cars going in front of our house, especially because a lot of kids going to school walk right in front of our house. So I know you and Lieutenant Guild were out there. I think it was before the lines were striped. That I know you pulled over a number of folks that were not obeying the speed limit as well. So appreciate everything you guys are doing. I think the improvements are much needed. So as far as let's see, the construction office. So Mayor Carr, excuse me, alluded to earlier. There is an application for the Rivian Service Center that's going to be in front of the planning board. That's going to be PB 1-25, which is going to be looked at September 15th, which is Monday at 7:30. The application is for a minor change of use and bulk variance. So the planning board will be reviewing that. And then we're also going to further discuss the updated application process, which is intended to basically make the application process easier for all applicants, residents, commercial and residential as well. So that was discussed at the last planning board meeting. There was some requests made by planning board members for more information, which has been provided. So hopefully at the next planning board meeting we can review that and they can provide their input on there. The zoning board, they didn't have a meeting in July and August. They do have a meeting scheduled for September 22nd here in this room. And then, as the mayor alluded to earlier, the affordable housing update. There was a challenge that was filed, but that's about all we can say about that at this point. Right? So we have to see what that is as the attorneys review it. And just, just a note on the ordinances, I do want to say to the public that I do appreciate you all holding me accountable. Because as the chair of the ordinance committee, it is my job to review those ordinances. Some of them come to me from members of the council, the mayor, some of them come to me for the public. There's other ones that I need to review as well. They're all important, and it's very difficult sometimes to prioritize them. But I know that ordinance 1423 is a hot button thing. So I appreciate everybody constantly coming up, reminding me. And as I said before, I made a promise to review it, and I need to stick to that. So I appreciate the public doing their part. So thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Good, thank you. We have no introduction of ordinances, none on second reading, no resolutions, no unfinished business. We do have vouchers. Ms. Verga?
Okay. I move that the vouchers dated September 4th, 2025 in the amount of $2,314,128.35 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by
Tyler.
Tyler. Sorry. Roll call, please.
Mr. Houston,
Yes.
Mr. Ivy,
Yes.
Mr. Pontier,
Yes.
Ms. Verga.
Yes.
We have no need for an executive session. New business, I think just came up. Point that former Mayor Druetzler brought up about that parcel of land. It's kind of interesting. And I think really we should have our affordable housing attorney look at that and give some sort of determination before that resolution gets sent up to the county and put on the ballot. That would be the recommendation. I could call our affordable housing attorney tomorrow and verify what could be done or what the next steps are. Do you have anything?
I do. So, Mayor Druetzler was here earlier this evening, and at the public portion raised some concerns regarding this referendum resolution, and his concerns, to which I think should be considered, based upon his knowledge of Morris Plains, which is certainly significant and much more so than mine. But he raises tonight a couple of questions that, and again, the first time I'm hearing about them are this evening, but they need to be considered. One of which is that apparently, based upon his knowledge of Morris Plains, the property over by the teen center may have some Green Acres money restrictions on them. That piqued my interest, because that is probably something we should look into. And again, based upon his extensive knowledge of the borough, I'm going to assume all of that's true, and we'll see what effect that may have. Mayor Druetzler also raised a concern about fair share housing and affordable housing issues. Candidly, we have separate affordable housing counsel, Mr. Buzak, who is probably, in my eyes, the best affordable housing attorney in New Jersey. So I'm gonna contact Mr. Buzak. I'll flush out some of these concerns that Mayor Druetzler raised. Once I get my hands around them better and speak to Mayor Druetzler about that. And then we'll see. He did raise, he being Mayor Druetzler, the idea of rescinding this resolution tonight. That I have hesitancy doing. And I have hesitancy doing because the resolution itself, and I want everybody to understand this, especially council, the resolution itself tonight that we passed in the consent agenda is merely what we refer to as an enabling resolution. What the resolution does this evening is it at least provides the authority or the authorization to the county, to the Board of Elections to place the question, the referendum question, on the ballot. Now, the question that's going to go on the ballot, and I spoke about this a little earlier, is whether or not the residents of Morris Plains here authorize the expenditure somewhere around, and again, the numbers are rough, $7 to $13 million for either the renovation to the existing police building or to the construction of a new police building over by the teen center. Now, Mayor Druetzler's concerns here tonight are that if you again, that if we seek to construct a new building over by the teen center, we may be running afoul of some affordable housing concerns, which is, again, something I will flush out with Mr. Buzak, our Affordable Housing Council. But why I don't think we need to rescind the resolution tonight or recall it is because, again, it's merely an enabling resolution. And if it turns out down the road, again, who knows where the referendum's gonna end up in November, that's why we're doing it. But it's conceivable that the residents come back and overwhelmingly say no to the question, and then all of this is, I guess, to the extent it's error, would be harmless error. On the other side of the coin, if it comes back overwhelmingly yes, we should, I think, keep our eye on the ball to the extent that it really gives this council two options. The, for lack of a better description, $7 million option to renovate the existing building that's here, or the $13 million option to go over to the teen center. Now, if it turns out we can't go over to the teen center because of affordable housing or Green Acres money, and again, I don't know that that's true, I have to speak to Ms. Buzak. We still have the option, if council, based upon the feedback we get on the referendum question and on the ballot, still has the right to then do the $7 million option. That's the renovations to the building that's currently here. I don't want to rescind the resolution, because if we rescind the resolution, we have a problem, because again, it's an enabling resolution with the Board of Elections, and we may not ever get the referendum on the ballot, period. And I don't want to do that, because once that ship sails, we can't bring that back to port. But what I do think we should do, and certainly based upon Mr. Druetzler and his history here in the borough, give this very strong regard and look into it, because again, it may turn out down the road that we can't do this based upon affordable housing concerns, which again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I got to speak to Mr. Buzak. I don't want to tie this resolution up tonight for the reasons I've set forth here on the record. But I will advise the council that we should consider these comments very seriously and take a look at it and make sure that you know, what we do. And it may turn out we can't do the new construction at that location for affordable housing concerns. But at least let's get there and get this resolution done so that we don't have the problem on the back end that now we have no referendum at all. I don't want to do that. But again, we do need to flush out these concerns. I appreciate him being here tonight and advising of that, because again, his understanding of the history far exceeds mine. And we'll see where it ends up. But at least for now, I think we stay the course.
Mayor, can I share a comment on this as well?
Yeah, sure.
So again, the property between the 9/11 Memorial and the Teen Center was just a proposed idea. From the architecture standpoint, we could use any parcel of flat land. So the idea that this was the identified exact location, aesthetically, I think it would look beautiful, but if we're gonna run into concerns with, other pitfalls for the borough, we can, go back to the drawing board on that. There's other opportunities for us potentially throughout the borough to build this. To Mr. Grant's point, I would hate to see the 2.5 years of progress between several different council people and chairpersons and, in-depth research by myself and others, and some expenditures to flush it down at this point in time.
Well, I think that's what Mr. Rand is saying, that to keep the ball rolling, and
Right.
we'll see where it all
I
ends
agree.
up.
Just a question, so during, when the mutual group, that's who you hired, did they do any sort of assessment there that we know of that would maybe address Mr. Druetzler's concerns?
As far as you looking at the deed restrictions, what have you, no, they just saw the size of the property and said, what we propose for an off-site building, and it's not just, again, the police department, we're talking about a public safety complex with, potentially a fire department bay and, some added increased, benefits for the borough, but that would fit that parcel there, so, but nothing beyond that, no.
So they were just looking at, as you said earlier, just the pure architecture of the building, not necessarily the piece.
Correct.
It was a box that you could move it.
Correct.
Understood. Okay.
It could work there, but it
Right.
could work other places potentially too. So,
One of the suggestions I would have, though, going forward is as the members of council, chief, and all of the relevant officials discuss this issue between now and November, you may want to note when you have your meetings, you have your discussions, that the option of 13 million may, if that's what ultimately happens, may or may not happen over at the teen center. That's a suggested place, but not a place that's set in stone. I I think that would now, based upon Mayor Druetzler's comments, be important to just note, because you don't wanna give false information out either, so.
Chief, the wording that we submitted to the county clerk for the referendum, did it include a location?
It did not, no.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So you try to keep them all vague.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's what John will get back to us, or we'll have to speak to Ed or whatever. I do want to invite everybody to the 9/11 memorial, on 9/11 at 10 o'clock at our memorial. And the speaker that we have this year is standing right here with us, Sue Riccadelli. She's going to be explaining her story and her and her wife's story, actually, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
a couple thousand other people, I guess, or
Yeah.
100, but a very interesting story that they've written a book about and play and some other kind of stuff. So please join us there for that, our remembrance service for the 24th year. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out. Have a good day.